So I'm actually going to record several videos today, audio formats, depending on exactly where you might be. And one of the big things that's happening right now, and again, I mean, I always have to say this because I I don't have the greatest of anything here. In fact, I can't tell from looking at that screen if you can see how dry my face is right now because I'm just like, you know what, I'm staying in the house right now. I probably should put some more lotion on, but if you can't see it, then whatever. And if you can, I apologize, or I might just put this in audio format only. But the the big thing right now that a lot of people are talking about is the Katt Williams interview on Club Shay. Now, I know I've seen some clips of Club Shay, Shannon Sharpe's podcast slash YouTube channel, and for the clips I've seen in the past, I honestly don't remember any of them, but I know that I've seen them before, and I've enjoyed, I guess, the little snippets that I saw. You know, I mean, I guess it also depends on who was on the show and what the content and the topics were. But with Katt Williams right now, and this is where I know I'm not good at being a podcaster or having a YouTube channel. Is yeah, you do the entire thing, so it's like 2.5 hours long. And then that thing right now, I think, has like 29 million views. But then you take it and you cut it up and you upload those as well. And, you know, plenty of those have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of views. And yeah, like that's like right there is you know, that's how you grow your channel. That's how you get the views. That's how you get the money. It makes sense. And to have those people in the back doing those things makes perfect sense. Like, yeah, I'm sure Shannon Sharpe's not doing it. He'll sit there, he'll sip the cognac, he'll ask the questions, he'll do his little fake laugh. I mean, sometimes it's real, but with this particular interview with Katt Williams, there are a lot of fake laughs, and then you know he'll sometimes ask follow-up questions, and the issues that I'm having is like it's evident when somebody just isn't a good host. I mean, yes, I'm doing the exact same thing that I'm now ridiculing somebody about, and not even ridiculing, just pointing out the facts of Shannon Sharpe is not a good host. I have not, at least in this format, or I'll say maybe for this particular interviewee. I've seen some of his stuff on ESPN, and like, that's his realm. Like he's an athlete. He is a superb athlete, and to talk sports, which I've seen some of it. I haven't seen a bunch of it. I don't have cable, so usually when I'm watching this stuff, it'd be either if I'm in the gym or definitely there's an Indian restaurant that I go to, and if they happen to have it on, I'm watching. But I don't spend too much to it, so I can't speak to his delivery for everything. But when it comes to this particular interview, I can imagine that it's very similar. And there are, you know, little things that he's either said or didn't say that I'm like, you're doing a terrible job. Like I can tell you have your questions, but sometimes these questions need follow-up questions. Sometimes questions don't need to be asked. Sometimes you need to really understand what the interviewee is actually saying. And I mean, I think I just want to kind of harp on maybe like three things, you know, like I was just sitting on the toilet listening to it. And right before I closed my laptop, Shannon was talking to Katt about Prince. Prince was before my time. Not going to pretend that I am a Prince fan. I know I've heard some of his songs, but yeah, not. I can't say I'm a fan. I know his music was good, but again, I haven't listened to it because that was just before my time. And because of the internet, I know I could watch or listen to any of his stuff, and maybe one of these days I will. But Shannon was talking to Katt, and he was saying, "Oh, you know, you're a fan of Prince. I mean, you know, he's a great musician." And I guess what he starts doing is naming some of maybe Prince's songs, or maybe lyrics. I'm not, again, as I said, I'm not a Prince fan, so I don't know. But there is some meaning, whether it's the name of a song or lyrics, behind what Shannon is saying. And I probably should have used this reference or this example last, but I'll just use it right now just to show that Shannon's just terrible at this. Is he's like, you know, how does a person think of something like this, like that? how does a person think that it snows in April? And like again, I'm just sitting there just shitting, and I'm just like, what? Like, it snows in April a lot, depending on where you are in the world. Like, I mean, maybe I need to listen to the song to get full context of what Prince was talking about when he either said those words or made that song. But for Shannon to not realize, like, yeah, maybe in Florida or Texas or California, it doesn't snow. I mean, that often. I mean, I'd even probably bet money that in parts of Northern California, it does snow in April. And I'm just like, yeah, what are you talking about? And this is so unimportant to the rest of the interview. But to me, it's more of a, what do you, like, you're not qualified to do this. You are, yeah, great athlete, great to talk about sports, but to interview people, and Katt seems to be a very good person to want to talk to. And you'll have different levels. As he's saying, as Katt is talking about the level of comedian he is, far superior to your everyday comedian. As a guest on somebody's show, far superior. And it's actually getting brighter here because the sun is now shining through the window. He's a far superior interviewee than probably the average person that's on Club Shay. Again, I've only seen this one episode and only seen a couple of clips of the other ones, so I don't want to make it sound like I've seen everything that he's ever done. But Shannon, it snows in April. Now, young Benjamin, living in Baltimore, growing up there. Yeah, I mean, did it snow that often in the month of April? No, but I'm not going to say it never snowed in April. Like, I know it snowed in March. Did it snow? I can't recall a time it actually snowed in April. Probably my first time ever seeing snow in April, I was living in Oregon. And yeah, it was so weird, but as an adult now, and knowing that, yeah, there are only 12 months, and just because it's spring here in the northern hemisphere does not mean it's spring somewhere else, you know? Or just because, you know, I'm in California or whatever, and it's warm in this month, whatever month it might be, April, does not mean the temperature or the climate is the same in North Dakota or in Canada or in Greenland. You know, so it's just, what do you talk about, Shannon? And I'll finish the interview later. Like, yeah, it's 2.5 hours long, so I'm going to slowly take my time getting through it. But that was the last example. Like, this dude just isn't good at this. I mean, yeah, he's popular, and it's you know, giving homage to the idea of, yeah, popular people now have podcasts. There are some people who are better at it than others. There are some people who, yeah, like you get a outstanding guest like Katt Williams, which prior to this interview, I'd seen some of his stand-up. I'd seen, you know, plenty of movies he's been in. But yeah, it's just like, oh, didn't realize he'd be this good of a guest. And even during I think this episode has been online or published for what? I think 3 days, maybe 4 days as of the day that I'm recording my video. And I want to say Shannon has gotten he's gotten tens of thousands of more subscribers in that small time frame. And I can imagine it's a result of this particular interview. So yeah, popular people definitely can get the exposure. He has the team behind him, the people doing the editing, the AV equipment. I mean, yeah, it's all there to allow him to be successful. So good, and that's just the way of the world. I know it. You did something else that allowed you to get the fan base or the exposure or the attention from whatever media company, conglomerate, whatever. So yeah, I get it. I'm just saying he's not good at it. The next thing, which was right before this little thing about Prince and who thinks of it snowing in April. Like, dude, it snows in April. Like, it snows in June, depending on where you are in the world. So yeah, he was talking about Dave Chappelle. He was asking Katt about Dave Chappelle, and Shannon is like, "Oh, hey, you know, you talk highly about Dave Chappelle, but Dave Chappelle turned down $50 million." And Katt's like, oh, go ahead, you tell the story. And, Shannon's like, no, hey, no, it's yours, you please tell it. And Katt is like, no, Dave didn't turn down $50 million, and you don't know the whole story until you know, like, everything. And, Katt says something else, and, kind of funny, going back and forth. And then we move on to something else. And it's just like, well, what happened? Shannon, like, as the host of the show, it's Shannon's job to say, okay, well, yeah, we laughed a little bit, but what happened to Dave? Tell us the whole story. And I know there have been other times in this interview where things have kind of been dropped. And I think it's a result of there's really no structure. It's, yeah, he has the cards in his hands and he asks the questions. And I feel like for a lower quality guest, that's enough. But it appears that Katt is able to answer the question or give more background or maybe tell a story leading up to something or pull in outside information that gets Shannon sidetracked. And now we might not actually get the full answer to the question. And I feel like a good host would make sure that we double back to make sure that we get the information. Because I'm curious. And as I said, I'm not finished with the interview yet. But what happened to Dave Chappelle? I guess we all know about the $50 million, but apparently that's not the whole story. And Shannon, it was your job to get the whole story. But we went into talking about Prince somehow. So yeah, we've already moved on to the next topic without getting all the information about what actually happened to Dave Chappelle. And I was only going to say two things, but I'm thinking about a third thing, which was probably the first thing when I was watching that was, I don't want to say Shannon like fucked up, but definitely it was, whoa, dude, don't go accusing people of stuff, because Katt was talking about his upbringing as a child and the, I guess, contention between he and his father. And at one point, Katt made it clear that, yeah, things weren't going well between he and his father. And I want to say it properly because I know what Shannon said, but I wanted to say what Katt was saying, what led up to Shannon's response. But it was essentially, there was an altercation between Katt and his father. And Shannon was like, oh, yeah. Katt said there was an altercation between Shannon and Katt said there was an altercation between he and his father. Shannon was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And Shannon, I think, was like, "Oh, so like what made you think it was time for you to step to your dad?" And Katt was like, "No, like I was getting beat down." So then Shannon was like, "Oh, your father was abusive," and Katt was like, "I never said that." Like, yeah, don't be like that. That's a huge, like, yeah, like I heard what Katt said. I didn't hear abuse. I heard Katt stepped to his dad and his dad put him in his place. And as a young man myself, well, I'm getting older now, but yeah, I haven't stepped to my dad, but my brother did. And I saw the result of it. And it by no means was abuse. It was not abuse. It was, hey, young man, this is my house. And this is what Katt said too, like about his dad, like, this is my house. And as long as you're under my roof, you need to follow my rules. And just because it might be like there is discipline, and it might sometimes lead to spankings or other things. Like, yeah, my dad has had to check me too. In fact, I did step to him once. I didn't step to him. I was running off at the mouth and he put me in my place. And yeah, there was nothing wrong with that. And by no means, like if I were a kid, I don't say today, but as a kid, somebody, was your parent abusive? That child's opinion might be one thing, or even myself as a child might be one thing. I mean, I guess abuse wasn't something I was thinking about when I was that young. But as a grown man now, looking back at it, it was not abuse at all. And I hated to hear Shannon even say that. And yeah, before he said it, I heard what Katt was saying. And that was I'm happy Katt immediately struck it down because like, oh no, I never said that. Yeah, no, yeah, I never said that. But again, being a bad host, a bad interviewer, that's what Shannon heard. Oh, your father was abusive. What the fuck? No, I didn't say that at all. And even going along with that little snippet of the interview right there, man, it was just in my brain because it was the interview stuff. And again, talking about when Katt was like, "Oh yeah, we had an altercation," um, and Shannon was like, "Oh okay, so things went well." Or I don't know. I should go back and watch it. Maybe I will. But Shannon said something alluding to the fact that Katt won, like between he and his dad, and Katt was just like, "I gave no indication that I won anything." Like hence why I'm moving out. Like he's just bad at it. Like that's all I can say is at least for this particular interview with somebody who seems to be a worthy person to interview. Shannon seems like he's a trash person to do this, And the only time, which again, because he has the team behind him, that it seemed like, all right, clearly there need to be some redeeming facts. Because I heard it too, is when Katt, we all make mistakes, all right? All make mistakes. Katt was talking about the Kings of Comedy tour and Comic View and the jokes and all that type of stuff. Steve Harvey stealing the joke. And the dates that Katt used, I think he said like 2018 and 2019. It was like dates that I was just like, that didn't happen then. And yeah, I know when we're all kind of in the, in the spirit of things, we get kind of caught up. Yeah, we might miss a date. We might mistakenly say something. And yeah, I'm not going to say every host would have caught that because that's definitely not true. Definitely not true. But I heard the date and I was like, that's about 20 years late. Is that what Katt meant to say? But again, I'm not the host. So Shannon's the host. And as Shannon appears to be in tune with what's happening, which it's evident that he isn't. I mean, yeah, the fake laughs and the bad questioning, the forgetting of following up questions that need to be asked. The timeline is all over the place. It's like, all right, we're talking about when you're a kid. Now we're talking about Friday After Next. Then we're talking about Comic View. Then we're back to talking about Friday After Next. Now he's talking about Prince. Prior to that, and I think now he's actually talking about Martin Lawrence, where I've stopped. Prior to that, he was talking about something like we're all over the place. And, so Shannon is just really bad at this. But the point I was getting at, as I am all over the place, because I don't have, anything that's super scripted, is the only way that little scene got redeemed or corrected is, somebody in the back was like, oh, wait a minute, let's just correct this. You said, I think 2018, 2019, but the Kings of Comedy was actually back in 2000. So what were you talking about? And they went through and they corrected everything. But for the examples that I've given, it's like, all right, dude, clearly you're not good at this, and I'm a little annoyed because he's asking questions, but I don't really think they're good questions. Now, some of them are okay. In fact, one question he did ask, and I forget exactly what it was. Like, you know what? That's a good question. It was being a rookie in the game in the movie industry and making changes to Friday After Next. Because Katt was like, you sometimes make audibles or kind of do things on the fly as an athlete in football. And then Shannon's like, yeah, well, as a rookie, they probably really wouldn't let me do that. But as I went on in my career, they knew I knew what I was doing. So if I needed to make, the quarterback makes audibles, but during active live gameplay, maybe, I need to make a slight adjustment. But you, Katt, as a first time, this being your first movie, was it weird, different, difficult for you to, suggest changes or, ad lib some jokes, I think is specifically what we were talking about. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I will continue watching the interview, and everybody's doing their little hot takes of what Katt said. And yeah, I think most of what he's saying is true. So I'm not going to do all the hot takes because for me, it's speculation that he's saying truthful stuff. Like I don't know, and other people are saying what he's saying is true. And then I think some of the people that he spoke out against, because I'm not going to say attacking, but spoke out against, they might be saying, well, this isn't really what happened. I did see something from Kevin Hart. I didn't click on the video, but it looks like Kevin Hart did respond to something. Because I know Katt called him a plant in the industry. But yeah, it's interesting stuff. So all that to say, I'm enjoying listening to Katt. I am not enjoying Shannon Sharpe being the interviewer. And the last thing I'll say is when Shannon Sharpe was a Baltimore Raven, I actually met him. Yeah, met him in the airport. I do remember it. I think my brother got his autograph. And like if I ever ended up on Club Shay, like, yeah, that'd be cool. It's not going to happen. But it's like, yeah, man, I actually met you 20-something years ago. Probably, yeah. Definitely not 30 years ago. I'm not that old yet. But yeah, 20-something years ago. Yeah, you were at BWI. And yeah, I think you were just coming out the bathroom. And I'm sure you probably just like, what the fuck? But yeah, two little kids. Hey, can we get your autograph? And yeah, so I'm not, yeah, this is nothing against him as a person, nothing against his character, nothing against the content per se, nothing against him as an athlete. It's more of a, if you're going to do this, and somebody, this is the advice I would take if I thought I had a chance of this being a serious thing for me. I would want to hone the craft. Like that's, in essence, what the entirety of Katt Williams' interview is he's a professional at what he does. So he has honed his craft. The hours that he has spent writing and rewriting jokes. He wants the people to know he takes it very serious. He is good at it. He doesn't want these crackpot, 2-bit comedians coming after him. He doesn't want Ricky Smiley saying that was my role when Ricky Smiley, isn't as good. Wanda Smith, I think, was the person on the radio show that happened years ago, which I knew nothing about. But yeah, he's like, you are an inferior comedian, so don't come at me like that. If Shannon Sharpe is going to be a YouTuber or a podcast host, he needs to hone the craft. The same way I can imagine he did as a professional football player. The hours spent in the gym, the hours spent watching film, the hours spent on the field, the hours spent working with teammates. Yeah, so it's the same thing. He was well under 1 million subscribers when I started watching the video a couple days ago. He has now surpassed, he was under 2 million subscribers. Let's say like 1.9 million or something. I don't know. It might have been like 1.8 something when I first started watching the video a couple days ago. But now he's over 2 million subscribers. So people are watching, people are subscribing. The back end stuff seems to be okay. The editing, the cameras, the microphones, all that is good. But Shannon, you from what I see, you suck at actually hosting. That's it. Get better. You now have over 2 million subscribers on YouTube. For all the other social media platforms, I don't know. And in fact, somebody did just post something on Facebook as I was scrolling about how successful of a year Shannon Sharpe has had. And when it comes to the realm of sports, I'll shut up because he is great. When it comes to being interviewed and hosting stuff, I don't know. It looks like there's some work to be done. So, yeah, I hope it gets better. Just like, if you're watching or listening to this, and maybe like, oh, hey, Ben, maybe you should consider doing this too. Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Big difference is I have 400 subscribers right now. I'm doing this and in my bedroom in the month of January, just sitting here. I got, my little podcast camera here, or not podcast, vlogging camera. Yeah, I will say that some of my videos are good and some of them are trash. At the beginning of this video, I was talking about I did wash my face this morning, but I applied the face lotion while my face was still wet. And unfortunately, the amount of moisture that was still on my face was too much for the amount of lotion I actually put on my face. So now my face is dry. I don't have makeup, or I don't have that's a simple fix. Just wash my face again. But I'm just saying we are on an entirely different level. So the amount of effort I want to put forth, it should be way less than the amount of effort he puts forth. Now, I know some might say, well, if you want to get to that level, then you should put that amount of effort in right now. And now we're talking about something completely different. So I'm probably going to wrap this one up. And I'm not going to disagree with that statement. But for the time being, I'm just chilling. All right? Yeah, I am just chilling. And that'll pretty much be that. I will gauge the amount of effort that I put forth, and I hope that Shannon's interviewing skills continue to improve. And like I said, I need to watch some more of his episodes to see how he responds to people who are probably lesser guessed. People who aren't as intellectual. Yeah, I mean, is Katt Williams really a genius? I don't know. I'm going to assume that just taking it at face value, I'm going to assume the majority of stuff that Katt said is true. But yeah, if you have inferior guests, I'm sure it's easier to deal with them. Last thing I'll say, and just I finished watching Ted Lasso, and I don't know if it was the last episode or second to last episode. I think it was the last episode where Nate's dad, walks in on Nate while he's playing the violin, and they have like a real heart to heart, and Nate's dad is starting to cry a little bit. He's just like, "Yeah, I pushed you hard, but I didn't know how to raise a genius," and like, yeah, you don't. And that is something that if you happen to have two genius kids, you learn a lot from that first one, and then you apply some of those to the second one. But the reason I bring it up is, yeah, like with Shannon Sharpe, if you have somebody who clearly appears to be as intellectual as Katt Williams on your show, you need to make sure that what you are presenting him is now on his level. As a host, you need to rise to the occasion. So if somebody else is on Shannon Sharpe's show later that has risen to Katt Williams' level, hopefully Shannon Sharpe will also rise to meet the occasion, as opposed to just, oh, here's some gossipy questions. I might ask some follow-up questions. There is no real timeline, but this will probably get a bunch of views because your responses are going to be pretty wild. Truthful or not, and hopefully truthful. But yeah, do I really need to do anything? Not really. So hopefully Shannon Sharpe rises to the occasion.